Out of it and about.
Mistaking their building for a brewery, me and my drunken brethren stumble upon a movie screening event held by the friendly faculty at Otis College of Art and Design, dubbed Movies That Matter. Though school screenings combine the worst parts of both film and school, photo op wanting phonies and unchallenging audiences, at least the movie of the night is something relevant and interesting. The Internet's Own Boy is about the life of Aaron Swartz, a phenomenal computer programmer and political activist whose actions and stance on open access and freedom of knowledge and information was truly inspiring and selfless, unlike those greedy fucks at Facebook and Apple. The film also highlights the fight Aaron faced against the FBI, the Department of Justice, and his own fight for a world without bullshit barriers on free cyber markets and human intelligence. With such an intriguing film being shown, the Q&A afterwards should surely be thought-provoking and interesting. Unfortunately, despite watching the film supposedly 2.5 times, the bootlicking faculty denied my request to shoot the Q&A portion of the event. Apparently, the film's themes of anti-censorship and freedom of information fell on starstruck eyes. What the fuck? Luckily, the film's director and hack, activist Brian Knappenberger, a genuinely nice and cool guy, answered my recently inspired question on whether zero-budget filmmakers should ask for forgiveness rather than permission in regards to permits and filming in public. When people are starting out, like as far as filmmaking, do you think it's better to, ask for forgiveness than permission, or because especially like, starting filmmakers, they don't have any budget for that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Yeah. Or is it just better to, you're on the safe side, especially if you're
content. Be honest, right?
Yeah. Be honest.
Yeah, I think it's better to ask forgiveness than to ask permission. But I think you have to be careful and polite to people.
Right.
But you also you can know your rights. I think one of the most striking things that's come up recently is that you have a right to stand on a public street and photograph, including photographing the police. That's it's okay to do that. Police will often tell you not to do that.
Right.
But they don't have a right to do that. You can do those sorts of things. There are protections for people that are filmmakers and journalists. There's no question, and I think that's maybe the first step, is understand what you're allowed to do. One of the things when it comes to permissions or copyrighted material within films, that's something that, as a documentary filmmaker, a lot of times you want to take from different areas. Right. So after a while, you become really good. You become good at that. You understand what copyright is. You understand. One of the things that is interesting about Creative Commons is it's a choice. Right. It's a kind of range of permissions and freedoms that a work will carry. But one of the most critical aspects of that is fair use. Fair use is a really important law for. Those are really important laws for documentary filmmakers, and they're worth fighting for. Groups like Electronic Frontier Foundation and others really go to bat for those things. And for a documentary filmmaker, it's really important. You have the right to use some copyrighted material to make the point that you're trying to make, some visual material that is going to make the point that you're trying to make. It can't be gratuitous. You can't be making a different point. It has to be specific to what you're saying. But if it is, and you're making and you're doing that in a documentary context or a journalism context, then you're allowed to use that stuff. So a couple of things I think for filmmakers: know your rights in terms of being able to film people. Be polite. I mean, you don't want to be
not going to shove a camera in someone's face.
You want to be you want to be polite, just like you would in the normal exchange. But understand that if you're on a public street, you can film the police, and you can and also understand that in the work you're allowed to pull in some restricted way, but you're allowed to pull from this landscape of images and content, this ocean of content that we live in.
So just being able to decipher what is okay now.
Yeah, you have to understand fair use laws. But once you do, you
navigate through it.
And you realize how important they are, because they really genuinely can protect you.
Save for the vomit-inducing gushes of the audience and shallow surface analysis given by those on the university's payroll, the documentary and its gracious creator were awesome enough to make me consider returning to Movies That Matter in the future, to see thoroughly engrossing films and meet refreshingly participatory movie makers. They should definitely renovate the school into a brewery, though. Questions like, why did you make this? And, wasn't this interesting? are too moronic to allow without the influence of intoxicating agents. I'll be sure to sneak some moonshine in my belly upon subsequent screenings.